Russian occupants focused on storming Avdiivka and Novomikhailivka in the Mariinka sector. The invaders are attacking almost without using any equipment. The occupants did not launch a single airstrike yesterday, but they did launch 3 missile attacks from S-300 air defense systems in Donetsk region and continue to actively use artillery. Before that, the Russians had been actively using aviation for a week. There are many reasons why the occupiers have reduced their aviation activity. Among them are possible aircraft maintenance, problems with the delivery of ammunition, or the weather. Ukrainian troops withdrew from their positions in Krokmalny village in the Kupiansk sector to better prepared lines, and the village is now under Russian control. This does not pose a threat to neighboring units, and I think this is a temporary phenomenon. The front line is shifting every day. We just don't report about capturing or retaking 100 meters. We don't need to. And for Russian propagandists, any victory should be presented as a Pirova victory to show why they lost 75 soldiers at the front in the area of responsibility of the Khortytsia Strategic Group in January alone. The village was occupied for the second time. In 2022, it was liberated during the Slobozhansk counteroffensive. Before the full-scale invasion, 45 people lived in Krokmalny village, which means there were about 5 houses, and these houses were destroyed by the Russian army. Therefore, these few hundred meters that the Russians captured do not matter. Our defenders have withdrawn to more prepared positions where their lives are safe. Since the beginning of January, 120 tanks, 218 infantry fighting vehicles, 178 cannons and mortars of various calibers have been destroyed. 7,055 Russians were killed or wounded. In the Serebryanny forest, the Russians play gratitude and offers to lay down their arms and surrender on loudspeakers. Let me remind you that Hitler used this tactic during World War II. In Tula, Russia, after a drone attack, the Shcheglovsky Val defense plant was hit, while the Russian authorities remained silent about the Novatek plant in Ust-Luga. Earlier, the Russian Defense Ministry reported that it had shot down drones over Tula. Russia is advancing more actively along the entire front, but suffering greater losses. Ukrainian General Staff data from January 19th indicate that the number of Russian attacks on the front line increased by 27% compared to the previous day. Additional data from the General Staff comparing the period of January 14-18 with the previous 5-day periods confirms this increase. The key factor contributing to Russian activity, according to intelligence, is the freezing of the ground, which allows better movement of armored vehicles. But in addition, as noted in the intelligence, during these 5 days, the number of losses of military equipment by Russia increased by 88%, and the number of losses of Russian tanks increased by 95%. A woman who almost died during the Russian shelling of a Mariupol maternity hospital signed a petition for Putin and was given a high position in a pro-Kremlin foundation. Money can change people and make them forget what they saw with their own eyes. Russia is bombing the Yuzhnodolbskaya mine on the outskirts of Ugledar. Of course, only a mentally unhealthy person can call all this liberation. These freaks really set out to wipe Donbass off the face of the earth, to turn everything, towns, factories, mines, into dust. The wives of mobilized men came to Putin's election headquarters and demanded that their husbands be returned home. The staff said that this was impossible and pelted the wives with impenetrable arguments. Men are unique creatures of God, created to be warriors, and they themselves do not want to return anywhere. If someone didn't like something, they should have emigrated. If men were to be returned, it would lower their manhood. Dear friends, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video so that more people can learn the truth. I will prepare more interesting and fiery videos for you.
Заходить!